When I was 16, I started out on a road trip heading to a high school to attend a dance. And as I was driving, it started to rain a little bit. And a little sprinkle came about, and I was getting on the freeway and thought, well, I better make sure I go a little slow. But regardless of that, all of a sudden I realized my truck was going sideways down the road. And as I was thinking, well, I just went through driver's ed, I just need to turn the wheel back a little bit and get back on track. As I did that, though, being in a small pickup truck, the rear end kept going. And as I spun around down I-10 in the middle of Houston traffic, across 3 lanes, I slammed into a center divider, the cement divider between the 2 directions of freeway traffic. The rear tire caught on the cement and threw the truck up onto its side. I looked down and I could see the asphalt sliding by the open window that I had there. The knob had come off the stick shift and was bouncing around. And I look out the window and I see the sparks and the cars coming right at me, because as I spun around the trucks and cars, the truck was literally going backwards on its side, and oncoming traffic was heading right for me. And I looked and I said, well, I better hold on. And I lifted myself up away from the window, and I kind of looked up through the glass again, and I saw the toolbox and the spare tire that was in the bed of the truck flip over and go over the top of me. Finally, the truck came to a rest. I pushed the passenger door open because I was still on the side and jumped out. And this unbelievable amount of chaos ensued. This chaos that came from ambulances and fire trucks and police cars and more tow trucks than you could imagine even being possible, much less needed. And I just thought about this chaos and this unbelievable time, and I was thinking about this. My God, I just wrecked this car, and I'm happy I'm okay, and oh my God, I just wrecked my parents' only vehicle. This chaos and the story of today's gospel reminded me of this accident when I was just starting out. In fact, I had just gotten my plastic driver's license that very day. And the chaos of today's gospel, when I think about it, and Jesus is in the temple and these animals are all around and the people are standing there selling and changing money, and Jesus goes in there, and if we listen to the Gospel of John, he fashioned a whip and he went in and he cleared the temple. And he said, "This is a house of God, a house of prayer, and you have made it into a den of thieves." The chaos and the unbelievable impact of that day. And I started to think about that, and I started to think about the chaos that we're seeing today in the world and all the things that are happening all around us. And I think about that and I go, what is this gospel trying to tell me? And then we hear the second part. Jesus then teaches in the temple. Jesus sits down and he starts to teach. And so even though all the scribes and the elders and the priests and the chief priests were there, and they wanted to silence him and they wanted to quiet him and they wanted him to die, the people were listening to him and his teaching, and they were amazed. And so they were afraid and would not even come near Jesus, because he was teaching the people and bringing them back to that calmness that it must have been like when they sat there and listened. So, how do we, as future priests and clergy, bring peace and calmness when this chaos is all around us? Well, Jesus has given us that model. He has told us we are to teach. And if we listen to Dr. Farwell, we're told that as priests we are supposed to do liturgy and teach. And so this is what our instructions are for today. And I don't know about you, but I have been seeing and hearing a ton of chaos in the world. Today is the anniversary of the first week after the attacks in Paris. We've heard of planes being shot down in Russia, bombs going off and killing people in Beirut, and the crisis in Syria is unbelievable. It's unimaginable how much pain and suffering and chaos is going on in the world. And yet, we are here so that we can learn to teach and so that we can help teach others how to live and exist in this chaos. God has directed us, and we are following that path. Because, believe it or not, the people are going to look to you and I when all this chaos comes on. When we are in our congregations, we are going to be faced with this. Now, for me, this presented a little bit of a problem, because there's one thing I really don't like, is I don't like watching the news. No, I don't think really like is a strong enough word. I hate watching the news. It's depressing. It really is. But I had to realize and make sense of it that I have to stay on top of what's happening in the world. I have to know, because when this chaos strikes, I'm going to have to be ready to help support those in my congregation. I'm going to have to be ready to preach and teach and be supportive for all those people that are there. And right now I keep turning on the news and hearing how state after state after state is refusing to allow in Syrian refugees. And they do this from a place of fear and of hate. And they don't understand what it's like. But this is another one of those things where Jesus has taught us we are to know the stranger. We are supposed to welcome in those that feel unwelcomed. And the way that we defeat the fear and the hate is we show unimaginable love and support. If we bring people in and we welcome them in ways that is unknown by anyone else, if they feel the unbelievable love of Christ, even if they don't know Christ, they will know the peace that comes from knowing Him. And they will know that by the way that we accept them, we welcome them, we love them when they come to us. It is our jobs to preach and to teach. And this is another one of those examples of where we have to be the voices in the world, helping support those that are hurting so badly. And when we show the unimaginable love and care and support from Christ, they will know what it means to be truly loved and to know what Christ did for all of us when He died on the cross. So, when you're faced with that chaos in the world and wrecking your parents' only car, remember what we're here to do. To go out into the world and preach and teach the gospel. Amen.
Amen.